All right, here we go. We are recording. All right. Guys, this is my first recorded show using StreamYard. So forgive me. Steven's on vacation. So it's just me doing this. So you know what, guys, all our sponsors, I don't have your elements, but you know what? We're going to get to it. I have a great show today. You can see her right there. Shannon with Forgiving Endo. Oh my gosh, her story is incredible, and I can't wait to get into it. But first, Shannon, do you mind if we pay some bills? We don't have to pay all of them, but we're going to have to pay,
Yeah, we got to keep the lights on. Got to keep the internet going.
Well, and I really, you know what, if you can, I'd love if you could help me with these too, because that would be great. But let's get to it. So first, you need anything, video, anything, everything. And what's another word for everything?
All of the stuff.
All of the stuff. I love it. All of the stuff. All right. If you have anything like that, please, please, please go to White Husky Films. The number is not on the screen, and you would think after doing this for almost 2 years, I would know the number by now. I do not. Isn't that crazy? Like, we don't know numbers anymore.
I know, right? 3.5.
Well, I know the ones. Okay, so I know Erica's. I know my grandparents' number from when I was a kid. And we say, I think I know. Oh, I know my mom's cell phone number, but she's had that number for like 25 years, maybe even more than that. Was that, anyway, those are so I have 3. I have 3. I have 3. I didn't realize I had 3. Oh, very cool. Anyway, the number is not on the screen, but you can always go for everyone listening, www.whitehuskyfilms.com. All you got to do is dream, create, record in that order. And when you choose White Husky, you will be so glad you did. And then we have Jane's Physical Therapy. Let me tell you right now, Shannon, it's a trip. I talked to several people yesterday, actually, to get these jobs filled. We're hiring 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 physical therapists. Let me tell you, they're not easy to find. And we're so blessed with the ones that we've hired. We just keep hiring. The tent is expanding. I think you'll get the reference, like to where the point where we can't contain it. The tent is being stretched, right? And that's a great thing. We're growing by leaps and bounds. If you want to add your skills, you want to change your life while you're helping change other people's lives, go to Jane's PT, JAYNESPT.com. You can always find us on LinkedIn. Just go to Jane's Physical Therapy there and get in touch with me. We're going to talk anyway, so you might as well get in touch with me there. You can get me on LinkedIn, or you can always call me. Wait, which number? I don't remember. I think it's the 713 number. But anyway, get in touch with us and send me your resume. I'm just so thrilled that you're going to be talking with us. And so do that. And then Klein's Jewelry. Go to kleinsjewelry.com. They are Houston legends. They are incredible. Their Shannon, here's the thing. And you would probably know this better than anybody. But Klein's been around, Mark Klein and his family been around with their store in the Houston area since 1969.
Couple years.
So what that means is, if you're in Houston and you're getting engaged, or celebrating a win, or doing whatever, and you're gonna celebrate it with jewelry, chances are you're probably wearing a Klein's diamond. And they are just incredible. Mark Klein is, it's not just that he's a great jeweler. It's not just because they're great designers. It's not because they're really masters of their craft. Every one of them, they have an incredible heart. And I can't say enough about Mark and Chad and Bradley, and they're all incredible. And they just opened a new store right off Katy Freeway. So you can always get in touch with them there. Unfortunately, I don't have their number either. So I don't have your elements. I'm so sorry. But go to kleinsjewelry.com, get in touch with them. If you're looking to celebrate a house, you're buying a house, or you need to get out of the doghouse, go see Mark and his family at Klein's Jewelry, and they will facilitate that. Now we have some other people we're going to mention. We're going to do that later in the show, so we're not taking 10 minutes of Shannon's time talking about sponsors. But I got to tell you, I am so thrilled and honored that Shannon is with me today, is with us today. Her story is incredible, and she's a coach. But really, here's the thing. Many of you know our story with my wife and I. Many of you don't. So my wife has been dealing with endometriosis for almost the duration of her life. Many doctors she saw, many, and if you don't know about endo, it's like a benign growing cancer that it affects fertility, but it's incredibly painful. I remember her just walking the floor, all through the night, and just an incredible and intense pain. And I remember one doctor, I talked to you about this, Shannon. I remember one doctor with what I call, after she had a surgery, they remove fibroids, and I call them the shavers, because all they do is just shave it, right? And
yeah, they go in and remove the tissue, endometriosis tissue, as much as they can get to safely.
Well, right. But they don't cut it out. They don't, any of that. So it just keeps growing. It keeps growing. It's like a lawn. And what he told me, the solution, the cure-all of cure-alls, I just need to get her pregnant. So having Shannon on, you're gonna really love her story. She is, in my opinion, just a model of perseverance, endurance, and strong spiritual grounding and foundation.
Thank you.
It's true, Shannon. I mean, the respect I have for you is really boundless. And I'm really honored that you wanted to come on. And yeah. I'm so thrilled. So without further ado, and I'm going to shut up as much as I can. Please make welcome Shannon Smith. Shannon, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on. So Erica and I met, I don't think it hasn't been 10 years. We were neighbors for a short bit, and we saw each other in passing, right? Coming and going from home and school and all the things. And we connected over our pain and suffering. And then we found out that we also love Jesus and puppies. So it worked out.
Well, I'm glad it's in that order. Not for nothing, but I'm glad it's in that order.
Yeah.
Well, so, it's just, I feel like it is just a blessing that you came in her life and subsequently came in our lives. You were just incredible. And I got to tell you, not until recently, or really, I would say maybe the other night, did I know what you had gone through. Erica didn't tell me anything. And so, that's appropriate,
Right.
And so when we talked the other night and talked about you coming on, oh man, I was like, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. So let me start with saying one, depending on what stats you're looking at, 1 out of 9 or 1 out of 10 women have endo. And that might be diagnosed or undiagnosed.
Well, that's why we started One Yellow Nail, right? Yes. Erica got this idea after when we don't do it anymore, but when we went to McDonald's one night, and yellow is the color of endo awareness. And so, knowing that stat, the 1 in 10, she's like, wow, what if I could do something? And so she just had this idea of doing, her nails, and the accent nail being yellow.
Mhm.
And she told a few people and it caught on, and in the midst of starting a foundation around it. But what that really means is, there's no possibility that a person living that interacts with women, and a very small percentage of men, very small, but specifically women, you will know someone with endo that's either suffering with it, like you said, knowing or unknowing.
Mhm.
And so, again, I'm just so thrilled that you're on, and you wanted to share your story. And let's get into it. Let's start at the beginning. St. Louis, and
Right,
then how things progressed.
right. So I've been dealing with endo symptoms since 1995. And the story is going to get kind of, it's personal, it's gruesome. So there's my disclaimer. You've been warned.
Well, okay, so 95, and not 95, not giving anything away that I would get hit over the side of the head with, but Southern women being Southern women, we'll just say that you, like, so 95, you were uh
I was in
becoming a
eighth grade.
teenager. Eighth
I was
grade,
in
there we
eighth
go.
grade.
Okay.
I was in eighth grade. Yes, I was a teenager. Um, the late bloomer, if you will, relative to all the other girls in the class. I think I was the last one to start my menstrual cycle. And the first time around was, normal 7 days, light pain, whatever. And being the last one in the class, I already knew what was happening to me. It's not like it was a big shocker. But the second one was 80 days long. That's just short of 3 months. That's right. The number is 80. And so I bled for 80 days and didn't die. Go me.
Well, let me ask this, and this is coming. This is a question that when we check our demographics, there's a lot of men that listen to this show. So, there's certain rites of passage that a boy goes into when they're becoming a man. What is the sort of the psychological, or, like, is it a big deal when a girl begins her cycle, like, for the first time? Is that like
You know?
what is, like, is it sort of an annoyance, like, oh, okay, here I am doing this now?
Yeah,
Or is it like,
absolutely.
hey, I'm growing up?
Unfortunately, Brad, I wish it were celebrated. Maybe in some cultures it is, but definitely not in the one I grew up in. It's definitely an annoyance. It's just a part of life. It's just a
Okay.
part of life. It's nothing. It's not a
So
big deal.
so
It's
I'm a girl. This is going to happen at some point, and there you
mhm,
go. And
mhm,
instead of yours being, forgive me again, a week. And I got it. Here's a disclaimer on this show: we are going to be talking about things in a very real way. I should have said this at the beginning of the show, but I want to make it very clear. You know, Not to be a disclaimer, but if you're watching this and you don't want your kids to hear this, totally get it. Put your headphones in. Um, we're not going to be talking about things in a lewd way. I don't know if that's even possible to discuss this in a lewd way, but this is an adult conversation. And we really want to educate parents, we want to educate young girls, we want to educate women, because, like you said, like we were talking
mhm,
about, there's not sometimes women don't know that they even. I remember Erica telling me that this was going on with her at a very young age, but there was
mhm.
no diagnosis for it. And
Right.
it was actually something that they thought. I mean, you look back at the 19th century, late 19th century, and the list of maladies that some pharmaceutical, typically, like a laudanum, that kind of thing, or opium, or
Mhm,
something that
mhm.
would help, right? I mean, even up into the 60s, with Soma, being, mama's little helper, but it was classified in, like, hysteria, like, female hysteria, or whatever.
Yeah.
And they were actually sort of classifying endo in that. from diagnoses of constipation or gas or whatever it was, or you're crazy.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And when you were in severe pain nonstop for multiple days, yeah, you feel a little crazy. You do. But
Right.
yeah, so getting on with this story, to your point, that year my grandfather died, and I happened to be on, bleeding forever span,
80
and
days.
80 days. And the psych my was in a load of pain during my grandpa's funeral, and I couldn't attend the service. And then my parents had the family over to our house afterwards, right, to celebrate the life, have the lunch, do the things. And my grandma and my other grandma, not my grandpa's widow, my other grandma was helping to take care of me, and a family friend, they were kind of watching over, on shifts, if you will. And I was throwing up sick from the pain, just in a wretched place. And that afternoon, I ended up going to the ER over pain. And that's very common for women with endo. They are in so much pain. I was taking 800 milligrams of ibuprofen every 4 hours, sometimes Advil. I've, gobbled down my share of Pamprin and all of the things, and it doesn't touch it. It doesn't.
You may as well
touch it.
take Pez. You may as well have some
So,
M&Ms.
yeah, it was awful.
But it does hurt your liver.
Yes,
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. So I go to the ER, they run all their tests, and the resident had the audacity to tell me that I had gas. And I about came up off that table and choked him. My mother looked at me, raised her eyebrow, and was like, "Shannon Nicole, sit down. You're in public."
Well, and to put that in perspective, this is an 8th grade girl.
Yeah.
And you ain't nothing but a minute. I mean, you don't weigh nothing but a minute. I mean, you're little. You're a little person. Yeah. So being in 8th grade, being raised the way you were, very respectful, yes or no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, kind of thing, very much in the Southern way. For you,
I was raised in St. Louis, Missouri, so
we're
right. Kind of border.
Well, but the point is that and I love Missouri. Let me tell you, I absolutely love Missouri. All the years that I filmed there, I just can't tell you how much I love that place. It's just great. But
yeah.
But here, I just really want people to see the scene here. We're talking about, we have a young girl, 8th grade, who is in more pain than most people. Some people's 10 really is other people's 1.
Yeah.
And you're a young girl. This is just happening. You've been dealing with this for almost, put it in perspective, in a business sense, this is a quarter, right? Just shy of a quarter.
Yeah.
3 months. And, brought up to respect elders, brought up to, and in so much pain that you hop off the table and give this doctor what for?
Yeah, ready to, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're talking all, I don't know if
here's a question for you, Bradley.
All 5 of you getting up and telling that doctor that he's nuts.
Yeah. Here's a question. Have you ever vomited from pain?
Yes.
Okay.
And it is, it's an incredible amount of hell.
Yes. So I leave, and that was the last time I ever went to the ER over pain. I know a lot of women who, they go, and we were talking about this the other night, they become frequent flyers, and then they think that they're just looking for drugs, that there's some kind of druggie, because you can't see the pain. side note, so in
Hands?
order to diagnose endometriosis, you have to go in laparoscopic. You go
Right.
in with a camera, they biopsy the tissue, and you get the diagnosis. There's not an x-ray for it. There's not a blood test, urine test, stool test, saliva test for it. There are some studies over in Europe being done. They're looking at genes to see if there's a connection in the genes. There's some endo tissue that has been so large, so profound, and so near the surface that MRIs are picking it up, but that's not a guarantee for every single woman. So you go into the
That's
ER, you
absolutely
have
right.
all of the scans done, just short of surgery,
And
and
you're
they
fine.
find nothing. And
Right. You're
meanwhile,
okay.
you're throwing up from pain. It's, and
It's
yes, you, they treat you like you're crazy.
treat you like you're crazy.
So,
You're a drug
mhm,
seeker. You're we didn't pick up anything on the scans, and it's not life threatening. How do you know it's not life threatening? My God, there people, and I hate to say it, but there is, how do we use the vernacular now? Assisted unaliving, based
mm,
on the fact that people can't get out of pain.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've dealt with it all my life, with pain and stuff and injuries that I've had. And, there's been times where I've had those thoughts. I'm in so much pain, in my shoulders and my back and my hips. I'm in so much pain. I just can't take it anymore. And
Mhm.
that thought comes in your head. So to tell a woman, in this case, a young girl, that, oh, you're fine. And without, giving the easy answer without any other exploration, without, what, there might be something here. In 95, laparoscopic surgery was not as prevalent
Oh,
as it is today. There was, a friend of mine, his ex-wife, went through a surgery that had her open for, I think he said 7 or 8 hours. Her recovery time was months.
sure.
And, they did all the things. So, but that's today, you know, I could just speak from my own experience. Erica's whole issue with endo, it's the same situation. But when you're in what are you going to do? Go on the street? I
Yeah.
mean, that's a possibility. You get in so much pain that you go and seek other ways to treat it.
Mhm.
But it's such a
And
pervasive
we'll
and,
get to that too.
dare I say demonic. Here's the thing,
We can
you
get to
know,
that too.
well, so when you think about how many women uh, 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 drink, and we're going to get to that, I know, but you try every avenue. You don't want to do anything that's against the law, so then all of a sudden you become an alcoholic. And then if you do have to go to the ER and there's something wrong with your liver, and then that comes up, Miss Smith, are you do you drink alcohol? And it's like, yeah, I probably wouldn't have, if when I was in 8th grade I wasn't turned off so much by you practicing medicine. I'm sorry, I just had to do that.
Okay.
Please continue.
Okay. So I want to touch base on a couple of things. So, of course, I was put on birth control. Very common. A lot of women are put on birth control to help make their periods regular, to help reduce the pain. Uh, and in some cases, it works and it's just fine. So, of course, that's what they did to me. And I was put on the pill in 8th grade. And that was not cool with me. But I really didn't have a whole lot of options either.
Well, why
So
was it not
let
cool
me,
with you? Well, hold on. Why was it not cool with you to be on the pill in 8th grade?
I never wanted to be perceived as a slut.
That's important because there's a psychological component to this too.
Yeah,
And wow. So dealing with all of this and then the trauma of your
right,
grandfather dying and all of this, 80
right,
days, put her on the pill.
right.
Please continue.
Um, so the pill, some side effects, some complications with the pill: heart attack, stroke, blood clots, liver tumors, bone deterioration, migraines, cancer of the liver, cervix, and breast. It can also deplete some vitamins and minerals. That was not discussed
while you're developing
while you're
and
developing.
becoming a woman.
Now, let's couple that with taking 800 milligrams of ibuprofen and or Advil, which is a prescription dose, to help lessen the pain. Can cause kidney damage, increase your risk of blood clots, stomach bleeding, anemia. Prolonged use can lead to impaired hearing, liver damage, increased risk of heart attack. Now, are you guaranteed to have this? No. Is it a possibility? Yes. Are you learning about this before you buy and consume? So we have liver damage listed twice. We have stomach bleeding and anemia. All right, so I'm on the pill in 8th grade. I try to come off my freshman year in high school, so no one thinks that I'm sleeping around. Okay, we're talking about Catholic school, which has its own thing going on. We're talking about these young children where hormones are starting to hit and they're learning how everything is working and they're wanting to try it out. And I don't want to be an easy target. Like Bradley said, I'm 5 foot. And at this age, I wasn't even 100 pounds. So I'm not trying to draw any more attention to myself. Not only am I small, but I'm trying to play small too. Right? And you go through all of this and it does something to you emotionally and mentally for sure. Like you want to scream louder than everything, with what you're going through. So high school, I was on the pill. I also started smoking in high school because there's peer pressure and there's wanting to be cool and all this kind of stuff happens. We make decisions when we're young that are stupid, so we know how to do the right thing when we're adults, right? So,
Well, it's also something you can control.
yeah.
You're in a situation where you think you have to take, and I think it's like a one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm going to take this Advil because it's supposed to help with my pain, but it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
That ibuprofen was designed for a very specific reason. And it's not, it's certainly not a blanket, you know what I mean? But you take it because you feel that you have to. So you're on the pill because they told you had to be. And then you start smoking because this is my decision. Whether I'm cool or whether I'm not, I'm making this decision. I'm
Sure.
doing this.
Right. So I increased my risk of blood clots, stomach ulcers. In college, I was treated for ulcers. Who's to say that was a side effect of the pill or stress or diet or maybe all of it?
All of it.
Because what? Maybe the risk is so small that it's not that big of a risk, so they don't say anything. But when you couple that with a terrible diet and a lot of stress, guess what? It compounds.
Well,
All
being
those
18.
all that little bits of
Yeah.
sand add up and become a big old
Yeah.
pile.
That's right.
So let's see. Oh, another fun fact during this. So I woke up one morning and I had such a heavy cycle that it made a huge mess. Are you picking up what I'm laying down? Or do I need to get more graphic?
Where were you?
I was living at home. I was in bed. I was in high school at this time.
And you wake up in a puddle.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to the bathroom to clean myself up, as one should. And when I'm done with that, I go into my mom, and she's getting ready for work, and I'm trying to get ready for school. And I say, Mom, can you bleed to death from this?
Right.
And she's like, No. And without that, I kid you not, I fainted. I fell right on over, hit my head on the shelves. I was at the top of the stairs because it was a 2-story house. Can you imagine my poor mom?
I can't. And ibuprofen thins your blood, right? So if you're on blood thinners or something's going to thin your blood and you're actually bleeding because it's natural, and all of a sudden it's just a lot. And then, I mean, my God, can you bleed to death from this? Well, I don't know. Let's
My
see.
poor
Yeah,
mom.
can you?
Needless to say, I didn't go to school that day.
I mean, maybe you have. You know what? Okay, I'll write the note. Okay. I mean, Shannon's not feeling
Yeah.
well. Maybe bleeding to death. We don't know. She'll be there when she's there.
This is typical for what women are going through with heavy periods. And
It's such a please. I'm sorry.
it's
It's
just a
so
hot
incredible.
mess.
Well, a hot mess in every respect.
Yes.
We have, as a man, one of our great, well, although it was really, really discouraged when I was a kid. But as a man, you want to have your bloodline. I mean, it gets really important the older you get, but you want your bloodline to continue. And women that, they want to have kids too. They want to have, they want their bloodline to continue. And then now I'm not a woman. I don't know. I mean, I'm married to a woman that has gone through very similar things that you're going through, that you went through. But I can't tell you, I don't know what the woman's experience is. But to have something like that, it's not only painful and chalked up to, well, I'm a woman, I have a complex, plumbing and already, right? And then here's something that should be normal. It should be either a rite of passage or an annoyance or whatever, but it's a sign, you're growing up. Then you have to deal with that. You have a cycle that lasts 80 days and it just continues. And then you're taking so much ibuprofen and you're on the pill. It's so funny that a drug that can prevent heart attack could also be the cause of one, and to put that in perspective, heart attacks are when a clot goes to your heart and it stops everything. So you arrest, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But the whole thing, I remember one time I took too many aspirin and I lost my hearing because I was so freaked out that I might have a blood clot. I didn't have any blood thinners. And so I took so many that I lost my hearing. So there's so many of these side effects. You're already bleeding heavily, and you're taking these things that thin the blood, make it harder to clot, and you wake up. When my mom had me, it was such a traumatic birthing process that the next either it was the next morning or later that night, she woke up in a very similar situation. She had birth. You're having a menstrual cycle. Hello.
What
But
the
you know what,
actual is
Shannon,
going on?
Shannon, you're crazy. Oh, the scans say you're fine. Oh, no. Oh, she's just, we're going to get a social worker in here so you guys can talk about, maybe, come on now. It's so much more. This whole thing, endometriosis, which still I don't think it gets enough attention.
We're working on it. We're working
on it, and this show is going to go out to millions of people.
We're working on it.
And who needs to see this and who needs to hear this is going to hear it and see it and go to the anyway. We already know that because we came in agreement on it. Yeah. So you're in college, you're smoking, because it's I have control over that. And at this point, who cares?
Right.
At this point, you know what I mean? I mean, that's the least of your concerns.
Truly.
So you're in college. Let's go from there.
All right. Oh, I was on more pills than I can count. If I knew my life was going to end up here, I would have tracked all of the different pills I'm on. How many of them have been taken off the market? Also tried patches. At what point, the shot came out. The shot was new. And
Well, what's the shot?
the
So
shot, the
people know.
Lupron shot, that stops
There
your
you go.
menstrual cycle for up to
Yeah.
3 months. And
Well, what
I
else is
didn't
that
bring
being
all
used
the
for?
science. I didn't bring all the science to tell you about all the side effects on all the things. And
I'll tell you.
ultimately,
Well, hold on before you go. Before you go there, it's very important.
yeah.
So Lupron is the same drug that they use for male chemical castration. Lupron is also what they're using now to arrest development in young people if they're experimenting or exploring um, transgender transgender life. It is probably the most insidious, awful. It is by far that drug should not exist.
Yeah.
Erica was on that drug for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
By the first week, I didn't recognize my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Took her 5 years. There are people that are on that drug for a year because
Oh
they're
boy.
choosing to. They don't
Yeah.
have endo. They're buying into whatever's going on socially,
So
and they're
sad.
actually being given a drug that is used in prisons to chemically castrate rapists. Just so we're clear.
So I was never on the shot. It didn't sit well with me.
Thank God.
It just didn't sit well with me. I did
Why
the
didn't it
research.
sit well with you? Because you didn't really know about it. What didn't sit well with you
No,
about it?
sometimes you just have to trust your gut, your intuition.
Come on.
They said, the
Amen,
shot
sister.
and you won't, it'll stop your period for, up to 3 months. And I'm like, side note here, real quick. I can't have kids, so I will never be celebrating this change of life with my daughters. So I don't have them. But what I think would be a special thing is to celebrate this. This is a natural occurrence that starts a womanhood,
You're talking about
regardless of
celebrating
the
your
age.
cycle.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
And there's a lot of things that have to fall into place for a woman to start her cycle. One of the reasons why I was so late is because I'm so small. You have to have a certain amount of body fat on you in order to have a cycle. You have to have a cycle for your body to get pregnant. So if you don't have enough body fat and you're not having your cycle, you're not going to get pregnant. Thus starts womanhood. The act of a woman's body being aligned in order to be able to keep the sperm impregnated and carry full term is a miracle of itself. When you get into the details and the weeds and the science of all of it, it's amazing.
It's
And
amazing.
why
It's a
aren't we
miracle.
celebrating this? Instead, oh, I'm so sorry.
Instead, what?
Now you have your period. Now you have your pads, and you have your tampons, and you have your cups, and you have your this and your that and the other. You have the toxicity load of the crap tampons that are out there. And then you have the pain and the breast tenderness and the mood swings. And you know what? A lot of those symptoms that I just threw out there aren't just symptoms of your cycle. They're symptoms of your body already being out of balance.
Mm. Tell
And
it.
when you're having those symptoms as a child and nobody knows better, so they don't do better, it just gets worse as you get older.
Mm. So what happened?
And
So you're in college.
I'm in college.
Um,
I've been on more pills than I can count, patches, um, just not getting anywhere, just one pill after another, right? In spring of 2004, I graduated college in 2003. So in 2004, I gave my life to Christ. And that was, an awesome experience of itself. And all of my friends at church, they knew what I was going through. And it was usually contained with the pill at this time. Okay. Usually I didn't need to take more than 4 ibuprofen. Usually I knew my body well enough that I wasn't making a huge mess anymore, right? Usually the pill was helping. So, and then in 2007, some of my friends from church were like, we have it on our heart that it's time, you need to be healed. And I'm like, let's do this. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have any idea what this looks like now. I was raised in the Catholic
okay.
Church. This big kind
Okay.
of healing thing is brand new. I don't know what's
Yeah.
about to happen, and I don't care. I'm
But
like, let's
almost
just
having
do
like
it.
almost having like a Russell Brand experience at this point. You know, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know what I'm doing, but it sounds great to me. Let's do it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
all
let's
in.
do it. Yeah,
All in. Yeah.
all the way, all in. I mean, it's God. Like, why not? Right?
Sure.
So, the 5 of us fasted for the day and got together that evening and had some very intense healing prayer over my body. It wasn't like anything I had ever experienced. It wasn't, oh, bless you, child. No, it was incredibly intense, um, and definitely life changing.
Okay. So you guys have this prayer sort of night. You guys have this prayer night. You feel something happen. Like
Absolutely.
I don't care what
I
people say about
absolutely
this,
felt
that. You knew something happened.
absolutely
And
without a doubt.
so, right. And so, not an emotional experience, none of that female hysteria. It was actual, right? It was actual, factual. Something happened. There's something physical that happened as a result of this prayer service. And what happened immediately? Well, in the coming, I guess, weeks. In your case,
Yeah.
what
So
happened
you
after
ready?
that?
You sitting
I'm
down. This
ready.
is great. This is awesome. So the pill that I was on for that year of 2007, I was on 3 or 4 pills that year. Every quarter, every 3 months, I had to go on a new one because I was bleeding 3 weeks out of the month. So let's just put
Okay.
a
So let's.
perspective.
Yep.
January 1st, I
Mm-hmm.
start my cycle and I bleed for 21 days. And then I
And then you get a
stop.
week of relief.
I get a week of relief and then I stop. And then I start bleeding again, 21 days. And I did this for the year of 2007.
Okay.
So after this prayer, I go to the doctor and I'm like, Doc, because we have our annual checkups, okay? And when you're
Mm-hmm.
on that many pills, you have a checkup once a quarter, even if it's a phone call. This is working, great, thanks, or this is not working, now what? So I'm on my 3rd or 4th call that year. Hey, this is not working. I got an idea, Doc. How about I just come off the pill? We'll see what happens. I'm a relatively new Christian. I don't know where my doctor is. I'm not trying to have a big long conversation. Either it works or doesn't work. So I'm not going there with my doc. I'm not saying, hey, I just went through a prayer service. Let's see what happens. No, it's like, hey, your
Right.
pills aren't working for me. screw it. How about I just come off of it? How
about I
much
how about I
worse could this be? I'm already bleeding all the time.
and how about I stop poisoning myself? It's going to happen anyway. And to put this in further perspective, the way a cycle usually works, as far as I know, is you got 3 weeks off, 1 week on. In your case, it was 3 weeks on and 1 week off. Big deal, big difference. So you go to your doctor, say, you know what, I'm good. I'm gonna stop. Let's just try it. Let's try it. What do we got to lose? And what happened?
I quit bleeding for a year.
An entire year.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all of this went down. I think it was November-ish, give or take, of
I mean,
2007. And then I didn't have another cycle until fall-ish of 2008. And
again, it is
I'm like,
insane.
okay, so when you bleed that much, yeah, have a little happy dance that you're not anymore.
Well, and then what did
I
that
mean,
do to your energy
seriously.
level? Like, well, okay, so we're talking about a lack of iron. We're talking, there's so many things. Not only is it because your body is not keeping that, but you're on pills that diminish all of your vitamins and your minerals and your iron, your iron deficiency. Your bone health is becoming to be shot. What did that do to your energy level?
It was crazy. I was actually running and enjoying it. I don't like
Amazing.
run. Yeah,
Run.
I don't run. No, but I was running in the afternoons after work and enjoying it. It was awesome. It was really a good time.
So
And
then,
then
okay,
once my cycle started, it just came out of the clear blue sky. No warning, completely unprepared. What would I be prepared for? I haven't been bleeding. And I was like, all right, here we go. So now we're going to start again. All right, God, cool, right on. I'm going to ask a little favor if you don't mind. Um, can I get a little heads up? So I know I need to, pack the things for that day. Wear the jeans,
exactly.
wear the black pants. Just a little heads up. And sure enough, I did. I would get a little twinge, and I knew within the next 12 hours, I was starting. No PMS, no mood swings, no breast tenderness, no heavy cramping, no heavy bleeding. My
It
body
was
was
just normal.
operating at its optimal healthy level.
Amen.
Amen.
So that went on for how long?
Oh, not long enough, friend. 2011, it all went to hell in a handbag. So this is very much a part of my story. Another, thing that I don't know how true this is for all women with endo, but this is definitely true for me. In 2010, my dad was diagnosed with cancer. In March. In November, his older brother was diagnosed with cancer and stomach cancer. And stomach cancer goes quick.
Yeah, it does. Sure does.
So I was my uncle's power of attorney for various reasons. And, I held that position with honor. But it was very stressful. I was also in a position that I was working straight commission sales. And in St. Louis, they have winter and complete with snow and ice. So in a sales position, if you're not able to get out and sell, you don't make money. So, and I was living by myself, never lived off the bank of mom and dad unless I was under their roof. So it was a lot of stress. And now it's winter and I hate winter. Okay. And my uncle is in the hospital and I was visiting him every day except for the days that I literally could not drive out of the neighborhood because the roads were iced over. So there was a lot of stress. I had quit smoking, and at this point, I had started again. And if my family ever hears this, there was a truth bomb. They didn't know that.
It happens on this show all the time, Shannon. So it's okay. It's okay.
I was able to get my, I started drinking wine on a daily basis. And it wasn't just a glass, but I drank wine enough. I was definitely self-medicating. It was a lot. Yep. It's a lot to watch someone die.
Well,
so,
and you're dealing with you got your
I wasn't
dad
dealing with endo. Yeah, it was my dad and it was my uncle. And I wasn't dealing with endo at this time. Remember, I'm healed. 100% totally full on healed. So it's just a straight commission job, and the job was enjoyable. I loved my customers. They were a hoot.
Straight commission.
It was straight commission.
So to put this in perspective, so you go into a sales job. You're what were you selling?
Wine.
You were selling what?
Wine. I was a wine consultant.
So you're a wine consultant. You're now it's even worse because now you have access to a lot of things and a lot of samples and a lot of this and a lot of that, but it doesn't matter. Wine, lights, whatever. Straight commission is very difficult. And you'd think, well, it's wine. You're selling alcohol. I mean, that's like, of course, it's like selling, it's like selling air to a human. Okay. But it's not. And the thing is that, depending on what they order, depending on there's a whole lot of things to consider.
Let me help you.
Literally.
Let me help you. It's wine that is not sold in a store. It's sold directly to the end user by the case, and it's high end.
Still ridiculously difficult in the searching for the. I mean, it's just any 100% sales job, 100% commission.
And this is 2008, guys. So this is when the economy crashed, right? This is 2008. No, I'm lying. This is 2011. I'm so sorry. Scratch that. Edit that.
Oh, no. That's fine. No, 2008, 2011. Even then, I remember 2011 very well. And a lot of people went back to school because they couldn't get a job. The economy was still in the tank. It was terrible. The economy really didn't bounce back until I would say 2016, 17.
Sure. Yeah. Right.
Give or take. I know that I'm placing people in jobs at this point, and it was terrible. And we're talking low salaries, so dad, uncle dying, you having to be very much involved in that, power of attorney for your dad.
Uncle.
You're not only, I'm sorry, your uncle. Not only that, you're in 100% commission sales job in a selling high-end wine by the case. Oh, and by the way, the economy is in the tank. If people don't remember the housing crisis of 2008 that actually brought Barack Obama and George Bush together as he was going to be. I mean, I think they brought John McCain in on it too for a little bit, but it was really irrelevant because everybody knew he wasn't going to win. So you bring in the future and present president to kind of put their heads together on how they're going to help this housing crisis. That bubble did not, that didn't get, quote, fixed for years. Years. I mean, and again, at that point, I'm in music. It's a whole different thing, when you have to go out and do a show and people can't afford the ticket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on here. So there's a lot going on. So you start drinking again. You start smoking again, you're self-medicating. You know, there's a lot. Again, I want people to recognize the severity of this. I mean, it's a lot. Do people go through a lot of tough times? Yes, they do. You're talking about I want everybody to understand, you're watching this and you're looking at a woman that in 8th grade was told there's nothing wrong with you, move on. Thanks for shopping. Now we're in adulthood now, and she's having to step up, take care of her take care of her family. She's not shirking from the responsibility, in however way she's not shirking from it. And guess what? Yeah, things get stressful. And I can already hear Christians out there talking about, the ultra saved are going to be talking about how, well, those are the times we got to lean on God. Well, that's true. Absolutely true. Sometimes it doesn't pan out that way. And does God know that's not the way it's going to pan out? Of course he does. But that's the way it is. I just want to paint this picture crystal clear so people understand it. So
yeah,
that's the stage we're sitting on now. Go.
Yeah. I want to speak a little bit to that Christian prayer you were talking about. Because I'm going to, and I can. Thank you. When my dad was diagnosed, I immediately felt the peace that he was not going to die. The story that went through my mind was when Lazarus passed away and Mary and Martha were grieving and he was buried, and then Jesus came back into town and brought him back to life. So, however that worked out between me and the Holy Spirit, yeah. I knew in my heart that my dad was going to be okay, that God wasn't going to let him die. He was going to raise him back to life. However you want to make that work out in reality. But when my uncle was diagnosed, I did not have that peace. And my uncle was a self-proclaimed atheist. And it wasn't so much he was an atheist, because you can't be mad at something that you don't believe in. But he was all the way pissed off at God for his whole life. So as a Christian, I'm like, oh, this is just really crappy, right? And really hard to watch. And the chaplain at the hospital had told me the one night I was visiting that my uncle had accepted Christ before he died. And so I was like, okay, so God, the purpose of all of this was so you could bring him to heaven and to spend eternity with you. I accept that. This sucks really bad. I wish you had a different way to teach the lesson, because this hurt. And it's going to hurt for a long time. But
so what
my
did that
uncle
do
is going to be in heaven, and so I accept the pain.
Okay, so but what did that do to your sort of your spiritual?
Hard, really hard, because you know what? We're all different beings, and this being was struggling really hard with her relationship with God at this point.
Okay.
Not that I quit believing, but I wasn't on good terms. When you're mad at somebody,
yeah,
you love them, but that doesn't mean you're not pissed all the way off.
Right.
All the way. So that's where I was, for sure. Like, what's going on? Why is this going on? My dad's wanting to bring his brother home to die in his living room. So because my parents' place was my uncle's favorite place to be, I'm watching my aging grandma watch her son die. I'm trying to help make decisions. Doctors are calling me at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Your uncle is crashing. What do you want us to do? Here are your options. I'm making those decisions. It's just shitty. It's just real shitty. And I'm a little pissed off at God. What are you doing here? He's like, I'm bringing my son home to be with me for eternity. And I'm like, all right. It still hurts, but all right. So I just wanted to, for all the Christians listening out there that are going through a really hard time, yeah,
It happens. It happens.
yeah. So this is when my cycle went to hell in a handbag. All of that healing completely right on out the window. I felt like I had a claw going in there with those very long nails that are real popular these days. Yeah, that was inside of me, scratching out all of my insides.
Ooh.
And what that wasn't pulling out, it was like a rock or an anvil or something heavy stone was coming down from my gallbladder, pushing all the rest of my insides out.
Oh, jeez.
That wasn't being scratched out. So anything that had been done was completely undone at this point. Welcome back to hell. There wasn't any relief in any over-the-counter painkillers. I'm not a huge fan of painkillers to begin with. I've been on codeine before, and that tripped me out, and I don't want to ever do that again. So I tried acupuncture. Didn't bring a whole lot of relief. I didn't want to go back on the pill because, we don't need to
Obvious
review.
reasons.
Yeah, we don't need to review that one. But all the same, vomiting, restless legs, incredible leg pain, extreme body temperature fluctuations. I would get really hot all of a sudden. And then shortly thereafter, I get really, really, really cold. Like shaking cold, shivering cold. And I knew the pain was about to come on. It'd be 90 degrees outside. We're in Houston now, right? I moved to Houston in 2012, exactly a year after my uncle passed. So I'm down here by myself. I physically left my family. I physically left my church. I physically left my support group in a city by myself where I know 3 people. So it's a little nerve-wracking. So the stress level did not decrease. Right? So we're talking about high cortisol, which is impacting estrogen, which is impacting progesterone, testosterone. Like all of your hormones actually are in sync together. They do not operate separately.
Right.
Just for all of those who are not into hormones, now you know. So I saw quite a few doctors down here. No one had anything new to offer me, except for one doctor. She was like, well, I got a couple of ideas. And I said, I'm all ears. She said, well, we can do E-Sure and ablation. And I said, I'm all ears. Tell me more. She said, well, what we do with the ablation is it goes in and deadens the uterus. I don't say this well. It's kind of like it's not. It's kind of like a laser. You're talking about cutting the grass earlier. Kind of like a laser on the uterus, so it doesn't continue to form that uterine tissue that passes. So it stops the bleeding.
Very similar to what they do with heart ablation.
Yeah. So, and then they put E-Sure coils, titanium coils. E-Sure is the brand name. Titanium coils in my tubes so I don't drop any eggs. So I don't drop any eggs, so I can't get pregnant in a uterus that has the ablation. So I won't have an unhealthy pregnancy or a terrible miscarriage. I'm like, all right, if this will help with the double homicide that's going on between my legs and the excruciating pain, where do I sign? And she said, well, we have to take a few steps first. You see, you're only in your 30s and you've never had children, and that's frowned upon. Frowned upon in that I'll change my mind and want kids later. And this is irreversible. Like, I can't have this undone. And I was like, well, hon, I never wanted kids to begin with. That just wasn't in my heart of things to do. So I'm okay, I'm good. And she was like, okay, I hear you. we need to run some additional tests, some biopsies, make sure that you don't have anything else going on, ultrasounds out the yin yang, in every which direction you could get an ultrasound. I've had one. And, go back for this and we talk again. Now you understand we cannot undo this. So if you ever want kids, you're not going to be able to have them. And I'm like, I told you I'm good. She said, I'll never forget this appointment. She said, what are you going to do when you meet the perfect man? He's got everything going. He's got the looks, he's got the heart, he's got the personality. He loves you unconditionally, just over the top, the perfect husband. And he wants to have babies with you. What are you going to do? I said, honey, that's not the perfect man for me. I already told you I don't want to have kids. If my heart changes, I have 2 cousins who are adopted. I'll adopt, no problem, okay? And she was like, right answer. Okay, you're good to go. And I was like, all right, great. So I had that procedure done on a Thursday or a Friday. I think it was a Thursday afternoon or a Friday. And I had the next couple of days off. We were close to being neighbors at this point. So I just took the weekend off. I had meal prepped for myself and had some friends checking in on me, making sure that I didn't have any terrible side effects that would require me to go back to the ER. And I was all right. And again, it didn't stop the pain. It only stopped the double homicide. So that was 2014. I found out in 2018, eSure was discontinued. So can you imagine how much stuff I've done that has been discontinued?
Yeah, I can
I mean,
actually.
again, the medical field just practicing medicine on us. So they want to say, so the FDA wants to say that, supplements aren't properly studied and you shouldn't take them. Yet look at all the stuff I did to my body.
Oh, that's such a not deeper. That's such a different show.
Just
That is a
saying.
different show. And if it's live, we would definitely go yellow on YouTube right away. All sorts of experimental things, but we're not going to get into it. Anyway.
We're not going to get there.
So okay, so you have the
2021.
ablation. Let me ask this.
Yep.
Okay, so that procedure would negate you from having kids forever, right?
Yes.
So what was the
The
argument against
combination of the eSure and the ablation.
Okay. So okay, so you could have had the eSure taken out and then there would have been a possibility of having kids.
No, I can't. No, because the tubes, so they put the tubes into the tube and the scar tissue builds around the coils so nothing can get past.
So
Nothing's
what
getting
was
through
the
here.
argument? What was the argument against the hysterectomy?
Oh, I didn't want one. I don't
Why?
want one. Okay, so many reasons. One, hysterectomy does not take care of endometriosis. Endo tissue grows with or without a uterus. One. Mm-hmm. Two, your bladder and your intestines are sitting on top of your uterus. You take this out, this stuff starts to fall down. So they hold it up with a net. Mm-hmm. And then you see commercials on TV. Do you have such and such a cancer, or this syndrome or that syndrome because your net was bad? And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. That's why I didn't have a hysterectomy.
Understand.
I kind of want
totally
all of my bits and pieces intact.
Yeah, it's again, you having that done.
But let me
well, hold on. So just so people understand, there's different things that people do in order to stop the heavy flow or when you're in pain, there's things that people do, and you're given a set of parameters. You're given a set of, okay, if you do this, you do this, and it's like, just make it stop. Just make it stop,
Yep.
So when Erica had her hysterectomy, Again, I was against it, but, and this isn't a your body, your choice kind of thing for me or her. But it was, I just wanted to stop. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. And you get to that place where being so finished with this kind of, you know, again, some people's 10s are our ones or not even on the radar. That's how much pain people, including myself, have gone through on a daily basis. Right?
Right.
You add all of the complexities that women go through, all of the complexities of a woman's body, all of this, and have it attack your reproductive system. It's not, you didn't want kids. And what happens when that perfect man comes along, blah, 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 right? But you just want it to stop, to where whether the perfect man comes around or not, I just want it to stop. Whether I want kids or not, my choice is now gone because I just want it to stop.
Yeah.
It's such, I really want to pound that home with people. It's that serious. Endometriosis, it's, I mean, you talk about cancer, you talk about different things, and oh, it's so cruel. And they are. And I'm not saying one's above the other or whatever. What I am saying is that there's so much attached and wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
Not, and the woman's going through it. And then, you find the perfect man, right? You find the
I
guy
did.
that's, you know what I mean?
I
He
did.
came around. That's why when you said
You
that, that's why I was
actually
smiling.
did.
I was like, oh yeah. And he's great. I love that guy. He is so,
Yeah.
I just think he is cool as cool can be. But no one is going to understand his experience. Nobody's going to understand my experience unless you've gone through it.
Yeah.
Unless you've gone through it, and you can't help it. There's nothing you can do. Rub my back, do this, whatever. And it's just so minimal. It's not even about, it's, like the touch. I just need to be touched. I just, you know what I'm saying? Maybe, I don't know if, no, maybe you can tell me why that is. I've guessed it's to remind you guys that you're not in it alone. Maybe I don't know, like, why is it comforting or what? But as a man and as somebody that wants to fix it, it's unfixable. In my hands, I can't fix it.
Right.
And it's so awful. I mean, this thing, and to have it, oh, it's just so mad, and have it to be discounted for so long. And it's just now within the last 10 years ish.
Yeah.
That it's even been taken seriously. Right?
Right.
Anyway, back to the story. Okay, so, all of this is going on. Healing's undone. You're self-medicating. Your uncle dies. Where are we now?
Okay. So we've had the surgery. I met the perfect guy. I got married. He didn't.
Got the
I told
ablation,
him
met the
that I
perfect
can't.
guy. Yes.
Yeah, I told him I can't have kids. He said, no worries. I already have one. I'm good. I don't need to have any more. And I'm like, perfect. Great. See, told you. Told you so. And 2021, the freeze of Texas, 2021.
Oh, I remember that.
And I was having a flare up that was just over the top. I couldn't walk. Mentioned Erica pacing. I'm like, man, Bradley, there are more times than I purposely remember that I could not walk.
Yeah.
I was in so much pain.
Mm-hmm.
Crawling to the toilet to throw up.
Mm-hmm.
A heating pad. I would take a hot bath.
Silly.
I would take a hot bath because my whole body would rest.
Mm.
I could get my whole body. The cramps wouldn't go away, but at least all of the other nerve endings that were buzzing in pain throughout my whole body would calm down a little bit, right? And it would help regulate my body temperature. Remember that one that was fluctuating like crazy, hot, cold, and then came the pain. Take a hot bath when I was cold, everything would calm down. I would ease up a little bit, right? And in the place that when we were neighbors, it was really convenient that the bathtub was really close to the toilet.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's right.
So I won't go down those gross details for y'all, but no, it is super crappy. So, anyways, I'm laying on the floor. We don't have power, we don't have water, and I can't walk the dog. I'm not going to eat because I'm not hungry because I'm nauseous. But clearly, dinner's not being made. Dog's not going to be fed either. My husband's an electrician, and so he had been given the clear to get out in the work truck and to go help get power on in Houston where it was possible. So I was home by myself and I hit bottom. That was my bottom. There were no more pills. I'd already had the surgeries. I was researching more surgery. I was, I was researching hysterectomy. I was asking everybody I could find, what about this? What about this? What about this? I was reading books. My friend said, why don't you look on Facebook and find a support group? So I did, found a couple, and I was tired of spending the money.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was tired of the pain. I was tired of our medical system in this country. I'd like to fire all of them. Start at the top, start at the bottom, whatever. And I don't have favorites. I just fire them all. I was done.
Mm-hmm.
And now these poor women who are out there who do have children and who are still suffering from this mega endo symptoms, props to them. May God be with them, because I don't know how they function and take care of anything like a child. It's bad enough, like if the dog pees in the living room, you clean it up later, right? But it's a different thing to have a child that you can't care for and you're in that kind of pain.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So that was my bottom, and I went on a hot pursuit to find God's healing naturally. So here I am some years later, and I have been able to bring my pain levels down from a 10 or 11 down to a 2 or a 5. The 5 is usually when I'm stressed up, because let's face it, stress happens. None of us are immune to it. And I actively do things to take care of it and to work on it. I also changed my diet. I was on they call it AIP, or autoimmune protocol diet, for a strict 3 months to reduce inflammation. I quit drinking coffee.
Mm.
I also quit smoking. Definitely don't drink even a quarter of what I used to drink. So all of that has helped my body and my hormones and the inflammation get back into alignment. And of
So
course, my relationship with God is much better than it was.
so not that I
So,
don't want this to be missed. So all through this lifetime of really hell, and it being centered around this endometriosis, because I mean, at the end of the day, it is, right?
mhm.
You finally, the freeze of 2021, we can all pinpoint that. Be honest with you, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate the freeze, but then again, anyway, I thought it was so weird. Even why is that significant? Why do I think that's significant? Because if people remember the freeze of 2021 in Houston, well, in Texas, it was graveyard silent. There was no traffic. There was no people living in the country. It really probably nothing new for them, but for all of us living in the city, and apparently all for us, going through this sort of transition, right, of what you're dealing with. Why I just think that's so incredible that there was no one doing anything. There was no one in the streets. There was no cars. You could hear it was boneyard silent. It was like no power there. You walked outside, and again, it's not, Minnesota cold, but it's cold for us. Not even Missouri cold, but it was really cold for us.
It's cold. It's cold.
Was
as long as you were in the sun, it wasn't that bad.
Oh man, it was cold. like fountains were freezing, pools were freezing. You had to utilize a bucket, go find a standing body of water and a hammer, and you got to get to that water for things that are happening inside your house. It was no joke. And through all of that, I'm just saying, and through all of that, you're at this point where it's like, there's nothing. There's nothing.
Well,
done.
Here's a little thing. We have that, and I'm working for a company where we had and I was a huge part in getting everybody to be able to work from home, being able to work remotely, and having a phone system that could transfer to our cell phones. So I had helped get this going, and then the freeze happened, and I'm like, all right, let's make this work. And this is also 21, right? So this is after the COVID crap of 2020.
Still going through it.
Because that wasn't fun enough. Let's just have hell freeze over.
And you're like, this is it.
Yeah, I'm done, man. I am done.
So
I'm trying to work, because let's remind you, let's be real. A woman has a cycle once a month. That's 12, and it's never one day long. Okay. But just for sake of easy numbers, 1 day a month, that's 12 days. That's 12 days that she's going to guarantee to be in over the top, life debilitating pain. You think there's one company out there that offers 12 sick days, much less 24 or 36?
I mean, you're talking about a day.
Now you've used up all your vacation time.
Well, it's not just 1 day. I mean, come on. And you're absolutely right.
Right.
You're absolutely, and that's the thing. So, it's like there's maternity leave, there's paternity leave, but if you're looking at something like this, which I think endo is classed as an autoimmune
it's
issue.
debatable.
Is that what it is? Okay.
It's debatable.
So, and then you have women. It's like, I'm a woman, I don't deal with this. Well, yeah, you're one of the 9 that don't. And so, again, you went through a lifetime of this to bring you to the situation, to bring you to a point where I am going to start researching this. You went back to school. You did, all of these things. You to put letters at the back of your name. And guess what? Now you are helping people through this. Okay, so I just want to make this clear, because this climax, I really want you to, really hear it. There's a lot of people that would look at your situation and be pissed off and be bitter and be this, which we've all gone through those periods of time. But that's not where you are. From what we're talking about last night, and this is what I'm getting from you today. You are trying, you are, to the best of your ability, and you're fleshing things out now, to be that help that you didn't have, to be that ear that you didn't have, to be that you don't really understand it. You lived through it and had to do all sorts of things to deal with it, right? There are women out there that it's so bad that, they become a frequent flyer. And so what do? Well, you do what you have to do. Just like going to the doctor and saying, I'm going to get ablation, or I'm going to get a hysterectomy, or I'm going to get this, or I'm going to get that. Erica's had so many surgeries. She has, like, her liver is encased in scar tissue. Seriously, that's a problem. Okay.
Very big problem.
So many things that are, on account of this. And I'm sorry, the solution is not a chemical castration drug. Right.
No.
But there was, who was there for, I was there for Erica, and then you were, but there weren't very many women in her life that understood. And what you're doing now is so incredible. Let's talk about that. So, you're developing you're on a podcast. What's the name of the podcast you're on?
Holistic Health Front.
Holistic Health what?
Health Front.
Holistic Health Front. Big deal. Because you have to attack it like a war.
Well, it is.
It's a war.
It is. It's not just your hormones. It's also your tissue, your tendons, your nerve endings that this endo tissue is wrapping around. It's getting in your bowels. You're not able to pass things properly. It's been found as high as the chest cavity, right? And the pain messes with your head. It messes with your head.
Hold on. Wait. That's such a big thing, big statement you said. It messes with your head. Yeah. It destroys.
You can't think straight. Brain fog from pain, brain fog from things being out of balance. Absolutely.
It's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Huge deal.
It impacts every system in the body. And if
it impacts every aspect of your life.
It does. Because you're missing out on life with your friends. You're missing out on life with your family, life with your partners, life with your kids, maybe. You're missing out. Then women are losing jobs and marriages over this disease.
Yes, that's another thing.
Jobs and marriages. And let me just speak to you, Brad, and all the other husbands and partners out there. I've had my moments, and there's quite a bit tied up in this little box here, where I looked Heath dead in the eye and I let him know loudly. The neighbors may have heard me loudly. I'm glad you don't feel this right now, but let me tell you just how done I am. Like, done. Don't ask me another question. I don't care. Done. Like, I am tired. Done.
Yeah.
Right. And I say that so that your woman isn't alone. That there's other women like her that are also done. We're also tired. That we don't want it to be normal, but also don't be freaked out and don't give up on her. And when she is ready and when she does calm down, give her a hug and love her through it. You mentioned a back rub. Yeah. Sometimes a massage is helpful, especially before the pain is too intense, because you can start to release the serotonin, the happy hormone in your body, the happy chemical, and you can help bring the edge off a little bit. So that is helpful. But there's also times that the pain is too excruciating and you don't want to be touched.
You don't want to be touched. And that's another thing. There's so much wrapped up into this.
It really is.
I just love the fact that, you're now, developing you're on a podcast, you're developing a practice to help women through this.
Yes.
I hope, maybe, and someday as you expand, it would be great if there could be somebody to help the husbands through this too. or, the spouse
Yeah.
is, because I'm telling you, it's a mind bender, especially
Mhm.
if you were the type of person that I've known, type of person I am, that, um, um, you know, uh, um, wanting to be, very active, and but then when you're the gravity of the situation um, is finally understood, there's not a chance that you want to hurt her. And so then that presents a whole, you're talking about marriages breaking up. Yeah.
Yeah.
This thing, it attacks, your life
Everything.
holistically, you know, finances, your sex life, your everything. Like, there's not anything that it doesn't touch. And so it's I would say it's a strong person that can deal with that. And I'm not touting my own horn here, or or your husband's, but I am saying that there's certain things that we deal with that nobody cares about either. I mean, think about this. If they don't care about what you're dealing with, they certainly don't they don't care about what I'm dealing with. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so I think now that we're bringing awareness to it, we can actually talk about these things. We can actually,
Yeah.
really get it out in the open there, so that there and so that there's understanding. God, there has to be understanding. It's funny. So Erica would, oh man, I remember being, so for Hurricane Harvey, uh, we worked with JJ Watt Foundation,
Yeah. I
and
remember.
so as a thank you, we got a chance to meet Zach Brown Band, and go to the show. We met the whole band. I mean, they were so cool. I mean, it was so
They
cool.
are.
So
I've
we're at,
seen them
so,
twice.
so we're at the show, right? We're guests of Zach Brown Band, right? We're at the show,
Yeah. That's so cool.
and Erica says, "I gotta go. I gotta get up." So she goes and finds the medical tent, and some of our friends were there, and I said, "Where's Erica?" I said, "I don't know." Because we're just enjoying the show, and then with his show, there is an intermission, right?
Yeah.
First concert I've been to in a long time where there's actual intermission. I'm like, man, I wish I had the catalog that guy does. But notice that, so notice that, Erica's, it's like, man, where is she? I finally found her in the medical tent be, because she's dealing with this endo stuff. She's in an intense amount of pain. Now, fast forward and dealing with stuff that I'm dealing with. And now, like the last two Honeycut Southern shows I've been at, where I'm actually helping the band, I'm in a bad way. Not, people don't know this, but May 4th, I almost died, and I was at the Honeycut Southern show to cover it for my channel and to help them with their merch. Getting they're selling their merch. The venue, it was for a Spring Fest, I think that's what it was called, and the venue was taking care of all that, but they weren't setting things up correctly. So when I got there, I took over. It's like, okay, here's what you do. Well, fast forward, my blood pressure tanks, and I am going to the Lord. I am not. There's not a chance I'm not. And I got to thinking about it when I was in the hospital. It's like, oh, so now I am understanding what Erica went through all those years when she had to get up and go. Mike was telling me that I was gray. Like, I was gray. This was happening. They sprung into action at the hospital, and I got to give kudos to Methodist. They, the Lord's working through their hands. I'll tell you that.
Awesome.
And I'm here. I'm here because of it. But I'm understanding what Erica was going through in a way that I can understand it. That makes sense.
Mm.
Intense pain and this and that. And I got to get up. I got to do that. It's starting to, and I'm at that point where I'm done, right? This isn't happening anymore. I mean, I don't know how many times, the Lord is going to snatch me out of the clutches of death, but I'm not going to, you know what I mean? This is not happening anymore. And so, and there's significant changes we're making, both Erica and I, which is kind of interesting because, you don't drink anymore. You don't do any, I'll do anything anymore. Nothing. I mean, well, I'm learning the miracles of Nicorette. I'll put it that way. It's no secret. I mean,
Okay.
I started smoking again, but that's I'm getting, so when you can't pinpoint things that, why is this happening to me? What's going on? It's, and so now I understand. And I got to tell you, it's frustrating as hell. Everywhere we went, there was something that happens. It's like, my God, man. I mean, can we just not have an issue for one night,
Yeah.
And then, with Erica, it got to the point, and I'm not telling anything that anybody doesn't know, she's never had a problem with drinking. She just doesn't do anything. A lot of for the same
You're the
reasons
sweetest soul I know.
well, it's pretty awesome. But, for a lot of the same reasons, I think that my mom never really did anything because she doesn't want something to control her. And so, but there was a time the pain got so intense that she's, drinking wine to just take the edge off. And she's not drinking it to get drunk. She's just drinking it because what else am I going to do?
Yeah.
And so I understand it. I love it. I love the fact that you're doing this. It just blesses my heart in so many ways that you're taking this and you're turning, your all that sorrow into gladness and all that sorrow, all that pain into something that's usable. And
absolutely.
it's amazing because you could just as well not been here.
I know it. I know it. Don't I
So
know it?
so let's go through your plan a little bit. So when someone comes, and here's the other thing, we can't discount diet. We can't not take that out of the equation, especially because you have, your gut health is a big deal. You're talking about serotonin. If that body serotonin isn't, because that's produced in the gut, and if that's not, if your gut's inflamed, guess what? That's, your body is tight and it hurts and it's not relaxing, and there's no supplement, there's no drug that can make that happen. So anyway, real quick, take us through, just on a cursory level, sort of what you're doing. And then you're developing a program. I think you've already developed it, where you got what, and correct me if I'm wrong, I could be wrong on this, but I really want people to know, not only where to find you, but what to expect. But it's like a 3-month and a 6-month program. And then
I have 30
or something like that.
Yeah. I have a 30-day, a 3-month, and a 6-month options, opportunities to work with women on a one-on-one basis. We will meet weekly. And
so not in a group setting.
Not at this time.
Okay.
Not at this time.
Big
but
deal.
in the future, absolutely. I would definitely want to be working. I want a group to be an option for women.
I love that. So you go to school.
Some women just want to do. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Sorry, you go to school. You become a coach. You're well versed in all of these certain things. And it's very important. You can't diagnose. You can't treat. You can be there.
Yes.
And you can talk about what's worked for you, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay.
Obviously, yes. I could talk about what worked for me. And we'll talk about what will work for them
Hmm.
based on what the doctors have told them and what they've tried. So I can be found on Facebook. Let's just keep it simple today. You can find me on Facebook. I have a private group, Forgiving Endo LLC, Stop the Endo Torment. My name is Shannon Nicole on Facebook. So that's where you will find me. We'll get in touch, become a member of the group. And I post, educational, encouraging posts, things of that sort. But I really save the content for the one-on-one because I know there's not a one size fit all for this disease.
Right.
There are some women with endo that don't have symptoms, which is completely mind blowing to me, but hey, God bless them. And that's amazing.
Well,
I think we're
what
all
should
working towards that.
right? Well, what should someone expect? Like what's the 30-day plan look like as opposed to the 60?
You're going to get more one on one time with me. We're going to,
On the 30?
so on the 6 month,
Oh, on the 6 months.
obviously
Got it.
we'll
Got it.
have
Got it.
more
Got it.
time,
Yeah.
right? So we're going to get together. We're going to, first and foremost, mindset.
Hmm.
Healing is 80% mindset.
Hmm.
Where are you? Where do you want to be? And are you ready and willing to put in the work to get there?
Hmm. Okay.
Number one, first and foremost. Then we will also discuss what has worked, what hasn't worked as far as diet, exercise, detoxing, even the home. I don't keep food in plastic containers. I don't microwave my food anymore.
Hmm.
I have my water bottle here, my glass water bottle. The goal is
Mhm.
to drink at least 2 of these a day, right? Um,
Thing's about as big
as
as you.
I know, right? Uh, there's some foods that don't work well for me. What's
Mhm.
poison to me might be perfectly fine to somebody else. And I'm not a
Hmm.
nutritionist or a dietitian, so I'm not going to tell you what to eat, but we are going to discuss what it feels like for food to do good and what it feels like for food to do bad.
Hmm. So big. So big.
And that's really important, right? And then, like I
Right.
said, we talk about the environment. I shampoo, conditioner, lotion, makeup, the toxins in
All
this
important.
stuff, right? It's we're going to talk about it, right?
Okay. So
And then
mindset. So
mhm,
mindset, and then number two is nutrition, and then all the subsects about
right,
that.
right.
Okay. And
Exercise,
then
movement, all of that, detoxing, all of that. And then we're going to talk about spirituality. We're going to bring mindset is a part of the whole entire program from start to finish. It's not, are you in the right mindset? Answer the questions, go. No, mindset's a part of all of it. We're going to
and
talk
that's
about
number three.
spirituality. As I mentioned,
Number three is
yes,
spirituality. Got it. Okay.
yes. So I dig Jesus and I, made that clear and I've been healed by him, not just, endo in 2000, at the end of 2007, but, I've also had some other physical healings. And so I'm a huge fan and I'm going to invite God into this whole process with us. And I know when we were talking the other night, the woman with the blood issue is mentioned 3 times in the Bible. I think that's kind of a thing.
A
So
huge thing.
when I'm meeting with my clients now and those in the future, we understand where I sit. I want to understand where they sit with it. We're going to work together and they're comfortable with me praying. They're comfortable with me mentioning God and we're going to work together. I'm not
And
going
you're
to give them
saying that,
homework of Bible verses, but I want them to be comfortable with prayer.
so they don't have to be Christians. This isn't a Christian program, but
No.
that's where you are.
Yes.
Fair. Okay. Awesome.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
is there a fourth?
Absolutely. We make a plan
Like
of action
what's
for the rest of their life.
got that? And then so I would assume that that's going to change. That plan of action will change from the 30 days and the 90 and the 6 months.
Right.
And so you're
Yes.
teaching them how to involve that evolution of plan and get them prepared to walk. I think I got to tell you,
Yes.
from somebody that's been through programs before, 30 days great. We used to call that the spin cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's great. I mean, if the 28-day program done that, that's cool. I mentioned on that podcast, that I went to a rehab one time for vacation. Really that's the only thing. I just, I thought, good mental health thing, and the food's good, probably meet some folks. Yeah, I'll do that. It was a vacation. And it was great. But I never really got anything lasting. I put it this way. I got the tools. I was shown the tools.
Yeah.
Right. But I had no idea how to work with the tools. But the longer programs that I've done, okay, so now I know what the tools are. I know what a wrench is. I know what a socket is. I know what that is. Now, with the longer programs, I can see how to use those tools. You know what I mean?
And it gives your body the chance to make habits out of those tools.
Yes. There you go. So I don't know. I'm a big proponent of doing the whole 6 months, but people will do what they do. The fact that you're offering it.
They have, their finances they need to take into consideration. They have their families. They have, their businesses that they're a part of or that they're running. So I want to be flexible. Like I said, one size doesn't fit all. But, so I have these different lengths of programs, these different options for women
I love that.
to choose from.
Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that.
And when I'm too busy to do one-on-ones, I'll start doing group programs.
I mean, groups are great. Groups are great. I will.
No, but seriously, not just about being busy, but the one thing about endo that we have touched on a few times over the past hour, 45 minutes, is the loneliness of the disease.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And social media is great. And, I can be on social media and I can take pictures of myself suffering, no problem, and post it and make a big sad story out of it and get people to say, yes, you get me. But do I? I don't know them from Eve. Do I?
Yeah. And that connection
isn't there. Actually still a bit of a disconnect. So bringing women together to have this face-to-face time, bringing women together in Houston. I'm going to be doing some events at some of my favorite healthy eating places. They'll be informative. They'll be networking, I guess you could say, like just women who get it, right? And going to a place that has food that we don't have to sit and analyze every ingredient. We know that we can just eat.
Just eat. Yeah,
you can just eat.
Just eat. I love it.
I know, right?
I absolutely love it.
So, I want to be able to have that camaraderie amongst us because that's a part of our healing journey.
So big.
Is encouraging each other to live the wholesome life that's going to bring healing.
So powerful what you just said. That's huge. So big. That's so big. Shannon, I'm so proud of you for so many different reasons. You're so great. I hope the audience forgives me for interrupting, but I just really wanted to drive home points. But you're so great. Just incredible what you're doing.
It's incredible what God is doing.
Amen.
It's really incredible what God is doing.
Yeah.
I had to put on my heart, and I shared this the other night, I had to put on my heart that we need to come together. We women of endo need to come together.
Yeah.
And we can start to receive this healing, not just of endo, but of the emotional trauma that we have had to endure all these years. So I'm really excited to see the kingdom come and to heal women. Amen. And to restore their life, to reignite their passion to fall, mic drop moment, to fall in love with your body. A body that has once felt cursed and forgotten about. You met falling back in love with your body, that it is actually a beautiful place to be. And that gets back to what I said, celebrating, starting a cycle. It is not supposed to be a torture chamber. It is a rite of passage of being able to experience life at the next level.
Oh, so big.
We need this in the endo community. We already know about the wretched pain. And if we keep focusing on the wretched pain, we're never going to get out of it. We have to come together.
It's hard to get out of it when it's so pervasive. It's kind of like, somebody gets shot and they're bleeding to death, and it's almost like telling them to stop bleeding. Pardon the pun with the bleeding thing, not pun, but example. But it's like, or telling a baby, it's just starting to walk and they stumble to, act your age, what's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? There's the pain is so there. It's so there. It's and the thing that you're saying, it's like, when people don't understand it and they treat you differently, they don't even want to understand it. It's so big to try to wrap your mind around, but to have somebody around that actually understands it, if I would have understood what I'm going through now and what I'm getting out of now in terms of the pain that I'm dealing with, if I would have understood that then with Erica, I guarantee you I would have been a lot more understanding. I would have handled things differently. Probably would have I wouldn't have been as frustrated at times, it's so abnormal. It's so weird, right? Until you're in a situation that's similar, and it's like, okay, I get it. It's such a big deal. Shannon, what you're doing is so big. It's so big. You're going to be helping. Gosh, man, you're going to help so many people. However, One Yellow Nail can help you with whatever you want to do. I think we'd love to do that. I can say that as a equal partner. But yeah, however we can help. I'm just so thrilled that you're doing this. Really.
Thanks.
I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm pretty pissed off about it, about the whole endo existing. I really am. I hate it. And I hate the way Erica's been treated with it. Yeah. It's such, it's a thief. I was called depression a time thief because it is. It's the most asinine thing you could possibly have. But really it's designed to be a thief. Well, when do people get depressed? When they're in a lot of pain, not just physical, emotional, but you know what I'm saying? It's such a thief. And endometriosis is an insidious thief. It won't kill you. Right?
Yeah.
No, but it will.
Yeah.
So
it'll kill the soul if you let it. Maybe not the body, but it'll kill the soul if you let it. Easy.
So thrilled, and
so we're not going to do that. We're not going to let that happen.
No, I love it. You're gonna be you are saving lives. You are saving marriages. You are. I just love it, and I want to be.
I'm an instrument. I don't want to take all of that responsibility and put it on my shoulders. I'll be an instrument to help save this. I do know what you mean.
You know what I
I
mean?
also want to give glory to God and not me.
So how you can get in contact with
Yeah.
Shannon.
Forgiving
I'll
Endo
have the links.
LLC. Stop the torment. Stop the
There you
endo
go.
torment on Facebook.
There you go.
That's the
Stop it.
quickest,
That's
easiest
the name of the
way.
group. Stop
Yes.
the Torment is the group on
The name
Facebook.
of the
Okay.
group is
So
Forgiving Endo.
so that those links will be in the bio of the show. Shannon,
Yes.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
For
Thank you for
coming on
giving
today.
me space.
Oh gosh, absolutely. You have an open invitation anytime you want talk about this or to talk about your practice, talk about all of this stuff. You have an open invitation. All you got to do is let me know, and the day is yours.
Okay. Thank
Guys, you're welcome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I know that Shannon's story has touched your heart. I know that her struggles and now really what God's allowing her to do is quite a triumph. And get a hold of her. Get a hold of her. All the links are in the bio, guys. I got to tell you that for speaking for Shannon, Forgiving Endo LLC. And all of us here at Work Your Career Wednesday know this, that we love you and God bless you.
Yes.
And let his face shine upon you and give you great peace. Be excellent to yourself and each other. And we will see you next week. Oh, by the way, next week we have, we're continuing the On the Road series. I'll put out a post about some of this. We had some issues with audio. We had, but they're getting out there. And we just appreciate you guys being patient. We appreciate you walking through the whole thing. Some of them I didn't hear them or see them before they went on air. So my apologies there. That kind of thing is going to be changing immediately. But thank you for participating in the On the Road series. We got 2 or 3 more to go. And we got another one with Lane Martin. You're gonna love this, Shannon. We got another one with Lane Martin. You're talking about endo with the pillows. So he developed the device. I don't know if you saw that show or not, but he developed the device that helps people with sleep apnea. He's got 2 things. One is a pillow.
I saw the. I just haven't listened to that one yet. Yeah.
Well, he's got that one, and then they just got FDA approval for the mouth guard. So he's got like a mouthpiece. And he's a dentist. His focus has been on sleep health, right? And his story is incredible. So you haven't seen it, go ahead and see it. But we got another one with Lane. And Casey. We got another one with Casey. So I think the next one is going to be with Casey. And then I got, and then we'll wrap it up. But guys, just thank you so much for bearing with us on that. And I just love you guys, man. Shannon, I love you. Give everyone my best and all of that. And this is actually going to get out today. This is happening. So be on the lookout for that. Guys, again, love you. God bless you. Let his face shine upon you. Give you great peace. Be excellent to yourself and each other. And we will see you very soon. All right.
Bye.
Hold on. I have to stop the recording. All right. Bye-bye, guys.